It's 1:00 a.m. on a Tuesday, and you're recording the same vocal take for the 14th time. Not because someone is making you, not because there's a deadline, but because it's not right yet. And you can feel the difference between what's in your head and what's coming out of the speakers. Nobody knows you exist. Your SoundCloud has 47 plays, and 11 of them are you checking to see if anyone listened. Your mom shares everything you upload, and you love her for it. And you're also quietly embarrassed by it. And you hate that you're embarrassed, because she's the only person paying attention. You work a job during the day, maybe retail, maybe food service, maybe a desk somewhere with fluorescent lighting, and a clock you watch too closely. The entire time, in the back of your mind, a melody is running, a lyric is forming. You write pieces of songs on your phone between tasks. They're saved in a folder called Ideas, that now has over 300 files in it. You don't tell most people about the music. Not because you're ashamed, but because explaining it feels dangerous. The plays don't come. There are nights when the silence feels less like patience and more like verdict. You get up the next morning and record again. Because what else are you going to do? This is the only thing that has ever felt like yours. Level 2. Then one day, something shifts. It might be a single post, a 15-second clip someone shares without asking you, an algorithm decision made by a machine that has no idea what this music cost you to make. Something small, something you didn't engineer, something that happens to you rather than because of you. And the numbers begin to move. The first 1,000 followers feel like a miracle. You screenshot it. You think about the version of yourself from 6 months ago who would not have believed. This number was possible, and something warm and electric moves through your chest. People are sharing your music. Real people. Strangers. People with no obligation to care. And they care. They are putting your lyrics in their Instagram bios. They are tagging you in posts at 3 a.m. saying, "This one got me." It's everything you wanted. And it's also the beginning of something you don't fully understand yet. Because the moment people can see you, you begin to think about being seen. And those are not the same thing. You start paying attention to what performs. Which posts get engagement? Which version of yourself? Which angle? Which filter? Which tone of voice gets the most response? But slowly, without any single moment, you can point to, you begin making small adjustments. You start thinking about your aesthetic as a brand rather than an expression. You didn't sign anything. Nobody told you to do this. The industry hasn't touched you yet. You did this yourself. That's the part nobody warns you about. Level 3. The first label meeting doesn't feel like what you imagined. You imagined recognition. Someone sitting across from you and saying, "Illicit, no, basis persecute," and "We heard what you made and we understand it." What you get instead is a conference room with a glass table and 3 people in expensive clothes who have clearly done this meeting hundreds of times before. They play your numbers back to you. Streams, follower count, engagement rate, average view duration. They talk about you the way a financial analyst talks about a commodity with promising volatility. They use phrases like marketable, sonic identity and demographic, alignment and content cadence optimization. They haven't mentioned a single lyric. They tell you they love your authenticity. Then they hand you a document that outlines, in careful detail, how your authenticity should be restructured. The implication is clear, without being stated directly. Become something closer to this, and we can do business. You ask what that means exactly. They smile. They refill your water. They tell you not to worry about the details yet. You take the contract home. You read it for 3 hours. You don't understand half of it, and the half you do understand makes you uneasy. There are clauses about creative approval, about image rights, about what you can and cannot say publicly and for 7 years after. You call a friend who knows about contracts and they tell you this is standard. You call your mom and she tells you this is incredible. You sit alone in the same bedroom where you recorded everything and you hold the pen and you think about the version of yourself who sat in this exact spot at 1:00 a.m. making music for nobody. You sign because the alternative is going back to that silence. And you've been in that silence long enough. Level 4. The machine moves fast once you're inside it. There is a team now. And their job, make no mistake, is not to protect who you are. Their job is to build who you need to become. The single they choose for your first major release is not your favorite song. It's not the one you would have chosen. It's the one that tested well. And there's a version of yourself that mourns the other songs, the riskier ones, the stranger ones, sitting in a folder somewhere, quietly growing irrelevant. The single does well. Then it does very well. And then, almost without transition, it is everywhere. You hear it in a grocery store and you stop walking. And you just stand there in the cereal aisle, listening to yourself come out of a speaker mounted in a ceiling. And people walk past you and they don't know that you are the voice they're hearing. And for one strange, suspended moment, you feel completely invisible and completely omnipresent at the same time. This is what you wanted. The money arrives in a number that doesn't feel real at first. There is genuine joy in this, clean, uncomplicated joy. And you should let yourself feel it. Because the uncomplicated parts of this experience are about to become rare. Fame, it turns out, is not a reward. It's a condition. It demands constant maintenance. The moment you stop feeding it, it begins to recede. And the industry, and your team, and the algorithm will all tell you the same thing in different words. You cannot afford to disappear. The tour is 47 cities. You love performing. That part is real. Standing in front of a crowd and feeling that collective energy move through the room. That is real, and nobody can manufacture it. And it is one of the few moments during this entire period when you feel, without qualification, like yourself. Meet and greet after every show where you stand for 2 hours and take photographs with people who need something from you. And you give it, because they deserve it. By City 31, you are running on performance adrenaline and nothing else. By City 42, you cancel 2 shows. The press is not kind about it. Your team manages the narrative, and you approved in under 4 minutes. You have millions of followers, and you have never felt more alone in your life. Gratitude and loneliness are not mutually exclusive. And nobody in your position is supposed to say that out loud. So you don't. You add it to the list of things you don't say out loud anymore. That list is getting long. There is a photograph of you from this period that you will look at years later and not recognize. The person in the photograph is performing an identity with a completeness and a commitment that you don't remember choosing. The terrifying part is not that someone else arranged it. The terrifying part is that you didn't notice until later. Somewhere between the contract and the 40th city of the tour, the character you built for public consumption began bleeding into the private space. You started managing yourself the way your team manages you. The songs they help you build are good, but they are built to perform, and you feel the difference every day in the studio. The gap is not between your vision and your skill. The gap is between your music and yourself. Doing the take, doing it again, perfectly, correctly, successfully, emptily. You win an award. You stand at a podium and give a speech you practiced. The audience applauds. You smile the smile that has been described as effortless and magnetic, and something underneath your ribs makes a sound like quiet static. When exactly did the line get crossed? When did you stop being someone who made music and start being someone who was the music product? The fans love you. The songs are yours. Even the engineered ones contain something of you. Some echo of the person who sat in the bedroom at 1 a.m. That part was never taken from you. Your journal has been untouched for 14 months. Because somewhere along the way, you stopped trusting your own private voice. Writing in a journal felt like talking to someone you no longer knew well enough to be honest with. That someone is you. Your team is already planning the next campaign. You attend, you contribute. Some of the ideas are good, some of them are yours. You sign off on everything. You drive home to the house that is objectively beautiful and quietly enormous and always slightly too quiet. And you think, without intending to, about the bedroom, about the foam panels, the energy drink cans, the microphone that cost 3 months of savings, about the 14th vocal take at 1 a.m. that you did not because anyone was watching, but because it wasn't right yet, and you could feel the difference. That feeling was once the only compass you had. You pick up your phone. 47 notifications. You put the phone down. You think about a sound. Small and unpolished and alive with something that cannot be optimized. The sound of music made in the dark. For no one. for the only reason that has ever been sufficient. Because it wasn't right yet. You finally made it. The whole world knows your name. And somewhere in the gap between who you were and what you became, between the bedroom and the ceremony, between the 14th take and the perfect one, you left without noticing. And the industry kept moving. And no one stopped to ask if you were still inside it.